Howdy, y'all. Welcome to The Rainbow Crossing, a podcast where Gen X and Gen Z discuss life's challenges and how we face them as queer people. We have these open conversations to foster a sense of community through different perspectives. My name is Julio Guzman, and with me
is Daniel. Hey, Julio.
Hi, Daniel.
Are you less stoned this week than...
Less.
Yes.
Keyword less.
Less.
Yes.
Not completely removed from it, but...
Still in reality this time.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear it. We're wrapping up November, and I'm so glad because I don't know if December is going to be any better here, but allergies have just been killing me, as you well know.
Yeah.
The last few weeks.
But specifically, you were sick the past couple of days.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it was allergies. You were definitely sick.
I don't know. I think allergies cause some kind of...
Either way, you were
walking pneumonia, I think.
Possibly.
Honestly.
I'm just surprised whatever you had, I didn't catch. Cause
I covered up as I was coughing, which
did.
was constantly
Yeah.
these last few days.
For sure. I mean, a lot of the time I looked up, you'd have your face over your...
Exactly.
For your own personal humidifier.
Honestly, that was it. Yes. Yeah. But November wrapping up for you, I assume you took part in No Nut November, so that's probably...
I sure did. I sure did. Took part. I partook. Definitely did. At least after the first week of November.
Okay.
I was a good boy for most of November.
Most of November. Okay. Also in November, we saw, and actually it's the reason I wore green today, we saw Wicked.
Wicked, yes.
Which is easily probably the gayest movie this year.
1,000%.
I would guess.
But it was so good.
It was great.
Loved it.
Yeah. You've seen the musical.
Not, and my first time watching it was the movie.
Musical.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen the musical twice. And, we all live in our little bubbles. And I just think everybody's seen the musical already.
Not everyone's gay.
But you are, and you still haven't seen it.
Correct.
And you enjoy a musical.
I do. I enjoy a musical.
Yeah.
I mean, I just haven't gone to see many musicals unless I was in it or when I was younger in schools.
Yeah.
Seeing other schools do them.
Yeah. This is arguably, though, the musical of the last 20 years, I would say.
But yeah, so good. No notes.
Yeah.
Everything was 10 out of 10. It was so funny, too, because when I went with my two sisters and my niece. And my oldest sister, right when the movie starts, she goes, "Oh, my God, is this a musical?" And I'm like, I looked at her. I was like, "Girl, what?" The Wizard of Oz was also a musical. Like,
True.
Hello.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to get a musical.
But this is a movie based on a Broadway musical,
Yes,
first of all.
even more in depth.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it was interesting to see. There was a little bit of homoerotic undertones between Glinda and Elphaba.
Yeah. But also Glinda's boyfriend, played by Jonathan Bailey.
Who's
my boyfriend.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Yes. Yes. His character in the movie had a certain pair of boots on, and he has mentioned that he has a photo of him just wearing the boots and nothing else. And we can imagine, having watched Fellow Travelers, what that might look like.
Okay, we got to change the subject. Now all I'm doing is thinking I'm daydreaming about Jonathan Bayleaf now.
Let's get the air down in here,
Please.
because I feel the heat rising.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Am I getting flushed?
Just a tiny
Just
bit.
a tiny bit.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. As we're filming this, we're going into Thanksgiving is tomorrow. This will obviously air after Thanksgiving, but it's something to be thankful for. The beautifulness of particularly Jonathan Bailey. But
Actually, I take that back. I'm not thankful for men.
Yeah.
They're probably at the bottom of my list. Yeah. But Jonathan Bayleaf, he's up there.
Yeah.
He is up there.
Yeah. And he seems like a nice guy, too.
He seems like the sweetest guy ever.
Yeah.
The way I've seen videos of him like engaging with his like fans, and he's like kissing some of them on the forehead and then leaving. I'm like, me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, I'm 26 years old and I have a lot of nice skills.
Oh.
Didn't say a good laugh because that was just ugly.
Yeah. Laughter isn't everything.
No.
Speaking of being thankful, what are you thankful for as we're going into Thanksgiving?
Today's episode, right?
Yeah.
Gratitude.
Yeah. Let's talk about
things
gratitude.
we're thankful for. Not necessarily Thanksgiving in total because
right.
tomorrow's Thanksgiving and this airs next week.
Right. But we should be practicing gratitude
Every
all the
day.
time.
All the time.
Absolutely.
Something that I am thankful for. I am thankful for my mindset, number one. To start off with, I'm going internal first and then I'll go external.
Okay.
Because this is going to be an episode, you know?
Yeah.
But thankful for my mindset. Although I still struggle with some things that are my weaknesses, like men, I have improved every single year. And
Wow.
sometimes I'm hard on myself. Sometimes I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I go hook up with this guy? Why did I go do these things? But then I have some grace for myself. And I think about who I was multiple years ago, and that body count has come down this year, thankfully. So yeah, my mindset in regards to how just I'm progressing in regards to maturing and getting older, I guess.
Yeah. Well, one of the most recent things that I have been grateful for is actually, believe it or not, it's you. Yeah. I
Oh God,
as
not me being so selfish. Me,
no,
and then
no,
you're
no,
like,
no.
it's you.
Not
And
at
I'm
all.
like,
This is just top of mind because it
Gotcha,
just
gotcha.
happened, and we were talking about how I've been sick, and probably hear a little bit difference in my voice this week. It was your birthday when I was really starting to feel kind of under the weather, and you mentioned, I think the next day you were like, if you're not feeling better, I'm going to go into nurse mode or taking care of you mode. I was like, oh, okay. Because you expect that when you have a partner, but
Yeah.
not necessarily when you have a roommate or a friend
sure.
that you live with. And the next day, though, you went to the grocery store and you got all these ingredients for this power drink concoction that you were hand juicing oranges and pineapple, etc.
sure was.
And blending it all together. And you were in the kitchen. I thought, oh, he'll be in there for 10 or 15 minutes. You were in there an hour and a half making this thing. And I know I expressed to you my gratitude. And one of the things that I love about this is that we can be very candor with each other. And you are forced to listen to me for this period of time.
So true.
And I was so grateful for that, because if I was living by myself, or if I had just any other roommate along the way, like, they wouldn't have gone out of their way. They may have asked, can I pick you up something from the grocery store or whatever, but they wouldn't have gone to that length, that trouble to do all that. You made quite a bit of it. And so I've been drink twice a day.
At least 40 ounces.
And with like hot tea, or doing like a shot of it
Yeah.
in the morning or whatever. And I could tell, like, almost immediately, those
It
ingredients
works
were
magic. That thing's crack.
Yeah.
Like, that's the reason I did it. I was like, it takes some time, but it lasts the whole week. And like, I make one batch of that. I was feeling congested and whatnot, like over a month ago, I think you remember. And I made it.
Yeah.
And 2 days into it, I'm like, I feel better. I
Yeah.
feel amazing. And if y'all want the recipe, it's oranges, pineapple. If you have a juicer, it's easier. But you can also just blend it and then scrape it until it's juiced all the way through all of the leftover. You add ginger. Oh, you also juice the ginger with it. You also add some lemon to it. So you blend all that up, add some water to it. If you want to add a splash of actual OJ, you can do that too. But most of it has to be pure ingredients. And then you add cayenne, you add turmeric. That's it. That's
Yeah.
the mixture. I drink that as a tea. So I pour a little bit under the cup. I add some honey for some sweetness because it has some kick to it.
Yeah.
And then hot water, mix it up, add my tea bag, and it's heaven in a cup.
Yeah.
And a remedy that just slaps anytime I'm feeling crazy.
It coats the throat, for sure.
It makes
Yeah.
you definitely sweat it out.
So, yes, I'm very grateful to you and having you as a roommate. And it's just nice knowing that somebody cares about you, especially once you get to a certain age. Like, it's easy to have this camaraderie when you're in your 20s and you're doing all these things with all of your friends because you're all single and you haven't been torn apart by jobs and moving and men. So you still have each other, but when you get to a certain age, a lot of your friends have paired off or they've moved away or this or that. So it's really nice to have that, and then to have somebody that cares to that degree.
Well, that's how I show my gratitude towards you, because I ain't got a lot of money, but I got a lot of heart and energy when I need to.
Yeah.
So when I have the energy to do things and I see that people are down, I'm just going to go out of my way and do it, because that's just how I show love.
Yeah.
And I mean, you give me a lovely place to live. You honestly are so lax when I need to get things done, and I don't get them done on time, but I get them done eventually.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you for honestly everything. I would obviously not be here in Austin if it was not for you. So thankful for you always.
Yeah. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for sharing that. So it's easy for us to sit here and just talk about these wonderful things that we have in our lives, which I think anybody on the outside looking in would say, yeah, y'all have a lot to be grateful for. But practicing that gratitude on a day-to-day basis can be really challenging because, yes, we have each other. Yes, we have a beautiful home. Yes, our mindsets have improved over the years. But we have these day-to-day issues that come up as everyone does.
For sure.
That, work issues, car issues,
I was just thinking that.
financial issues, home issues. There are so many little things on the day-to-day basis that can and often do get all of us down.
Oh, for sure.
So like how do we combat that on the regular and continue to have this positive mindset?
It is by just thinking of all the things that you do have and all the things that you take for granted on the day to day that you might not see. I mean, I've had car issues a lot of the time, whether it's one side view mirror that's getting broken off or the other side view mirror that's getting broken off, which both have happened to me.
Yeah.
One of them was my fault. The other one was not my fault.
Yeah.
Which right now they're both still not the vibe. It's looking real crusty out there. That's the one thing that I need to pay more attention to that hasn't gotten the love and care that it needs to. But at the end of the day, I'm trying out here.
I know.
I am going. Then I look at my car and I'm like, I mean, you're the one that's taken me there.
Yeah.
And this has been the journey. So at least I'm here. But with things like that, it's like the more they happen, the better I get at understanding it and the more cautious I need to be about the outside world. But I think of all these things. Hey, if it's my fault, it's my fault. That's the only thing I can blame. So what am I going to have this negative energy towards? I should just be thankful that it wasn't worse than it needed to be. And I was able to manage how to get out of it.
Yeah.
And that's how I handle those things. But when it's those things that are out of my control, and that seems to be a little bit more problematic because it's like, what can I do? What can I do in these scenarios that there's nothing that I can do? And it's all your mindset. It's like, how much of this is going to affect me as a person?
Yeah.
Or how long am I going to let it affect me? Could it ruin my whole week? Could it just ruin a moment of my day?
To reframe how you view a situation especially when something out of your control, which is the majority of what happens in our lives, when something happens to you, how do you reframe that negative thing into something positive, or at least your mindset is positive? And that's extremely challenging to do. So, for example, and you know this, and I've shared this story before, and this is not a negative critique of this person at all, but there was someone who I dated who moved in with me, and I had at the time you as a roommate, had another roommate or two, and the person moved in. It was the first time we were living together, and they weren't happy that they were coming into a situation where it wasn't just the romantic partners living together, but it was multiple other people in this house. And it was something that was out of their control. And they weren't happy about it. It wasn't the ideal situation. There was this kind of dark shadow that hung over them as a result of this. And it kind of bled into everything into their lives. And they just allowed this negative attitude to frame exactly their world. And so I eventually had to approach them, and I said, you have to reframe the way you're looking at this. You can do one of two things. You can find the positive in this, because there are a lot of positives to this situation, or you can continue to be negative, but that's going to be the end of our relationship, because I can't let your dark cloud hang over me as well, because that's going to start affecting how I live my life. And eventually that person did take the positive outlook. And once it was like they just turned the corner towards positivity. And all of a sudden, all these blessings just came their way. And they were doing a certain activity, and all of a sudden everybody in the house was involved in helping them and helping them achieve these things that they wanted to achieve. It just took that little shift of a mindset, and not only did it just help their outlook on everything, but it's like literally the blessings just came flowing
For
back
sure.
to them.
The more you hold on to something that's not benefiting you, the less you have to open up for things that are actually attracted to you.
Right. You're closed off to the positivity, not only the positivity that's actually immediately in your world, but any potential positivity as well. Because positivity does not want to be around negativity.
Nope, not at all.
And it sees that and it turns around and heads the other way.
They battle in my head every day. I'm like, be a bitch or be nice. Just smile. Usually I pick just smile.
Yeah.
Usually.
Sure.
It's true.
Sure, Jan.
It's true. I haven't popped off on you.
No, not in at least 2 days.
Wow. Everyone just loves to villainize me.
So I think another way to help foster gratitude in our day-to-day lives is something that we were just doing just now, and that's expressing your appreciation to somebody else. When you can stop and say, hey, I really appreciate what you bring to my life. When I can recognize that things may not be great in my life. I've been sick. That's a negative. But you being in my life and helping lift me up, that's a huge positive. And so I've turned this negative situation around because like I've been down and out. Like I haven't been able to go to the gym.
I know.
I really just have not had much energy at all to accomplish much. Negative stuff is going to happen to you no matter what you do in your life. But the positive stuff, if you can focus on that and then focus on where to send that appreciation. And we all have those people in our lives. So if we can funnel that, I think it allows us to focus on just the overall positivity in our lives.
1,000%. I am most thankful, I think, for my family and friends, as dumb as that sounds. This has been, I mean, it doesn't sound dumb, but that's like the very cliche thing to do. Like, especially around the Thanksgiving table. Like, what are you thankful for? Oh, I'm thankful for all of you. Like, that's just the typical thing people say. But specifically these past 2 years, I've been more, at least to myself, than normal. And I've been working on really getting to know who I am as myself, by myself. The things that trigger me, the things that don't. And in those times, I would be challenging myself still, like doing some random competition or race or whatever it is, just to see what really fuels me. And in moments, I felt like I didn't have the right support system that I needed. But this year, and some towards the end of last year, I really felt like people started showing up in my life who have been in my life, but maybe they have been supportive of me, but there's a difference of like actually feeling it. I don't know. Like you could be saying you're supporting me, but for some reason I don't feel it. And I feel like this year I have really felt the support from loved ones and people that are still in my life and people who have been in my life for forever, which is nice because I felt disconnected for a bit. And now I'm thankful that I don't feel so disconnected from the people around me.
Yeah. And a lot of times that's your mindset, not their mindset. And yeah, it's so important just to be able to look for the positivity in all of that and to find I know you can't be there for me 100%, but there's probably something going on in your life. So I need to be just thankful for whatever I can
It's
get.
hard sometimes because when you're that person who is there for everybody for whatever they need,
course.
it's like, why am I not getting the support that I give to anyone? So that was part of the feelings that I had inside, and now I feel like it's there.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful.
Yeah. Another way that I like to practice my gratitude on a daily basis is put into place kind of a gratitude ritual. And it doesn't have to be anything special. For me, it's just waking up in the morning and taking a moment to recognize I have a beautiful home. The sun is shining. I've got some amazing people in my life today that I get to be involved with. it can be as simple as I've got food I can go eat today. And what percentage of the world's population doesn't have that? I've got running water. And there's not that big of a percentage of the world that actually has running clean water in their homes. So, however you can fit that into your day. For me, it's in the morning. I wake up and kind of think that way. A lot of people, it's in the evening time. And some people frame it as a prayer, if you're spiritual or religious or whatever. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a prayer, but it can just be, kind of to yourself that, yeah, I have so much to be grateful for. Thank you, universe, or just thank you in general. Thank you, God. And I think that really helps you just kind of set your mind. For me, it's the morning because it helps set the pace for the day. But a lot of people want to be reflective in the evening times and kind of check off that mental list of things because so many of us have a host of blessings to be grateful for.
Is there anything that you feel like needs to be practiced with your gratitude? Something that really like hits you that it's like, oh, why is this one thing causing me so much discomfort?
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to be grateful for things that are contrary to the plan that you had for your life, or that are contrary to what society has told you is how your life should be. I have been dating the last couple of months, but I'm not in a relationship currently. I'm definitely at the point in my life where I would have liked to have been in an established relationship and have had someone in my life for years and have lots of things to look forward to together, growing older together, establishing a home, a family, or whatever. And I don't have that, not in the traditional sense. I know I have a family, but I don't have a romantic partner currently. How do you be grateful for something that, especially as a younger person, when I was your age, I yearned for a love?
I mean, yeah, I did too.
Yes, yes. So how do you turn this negative thing that maybe you had a role in it, but a lot of it was happening to you? Again, it was a lot of things that caused the breakup in my relationships. I didn't have any control over it. I didn't have any say over it. It was happening to me. How do I be grateful for that? And I've definitely been in periods in my life where the breakup happened and I was just completely distraught and there was no gratitude in my heart at all
Yeah.
in those moments. And in retrospect, I could look back and say, okay, I'm really glad I got out of that. It was a toxic situation. It was not serving me really in any way. I was serving it. And it wasn't allowing me to reach my full potential to be my best self. And more recently, and the recent breakup from last year, it didn't take me as long. I certainly had those moments of woe is me when it happened, but it pretty quickly turned. I was able to turn because I've had more experience in life, and I could look back on my previous breakups and say, okay, it wasn't the end of the world. This actually led to a great deal of strength for me, a great deal of peace for me, the ability to evolve and grow into a person who I like a lot more than I previously did. So I look back on that situation and now I'm like, I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things that I'm doing now if I was in a relationship, particularly the relationship that I was in.
Yeah.
And there's nothing negative against that person at all, but we wouldn't be doing this podcast if I was in a relationship right
No,
now.
not at all. It is hard to practice gratitude when a lot of negative things that aren't aligning with who you are is happening to you. And I mean, growing up, I played the victim so much. Like I practiced gratitude 0% growing up, zero. Like everything was like, why does this keep happening to me? Just negative, negative, negative. I don't think I was ever thankful for anything. Like you asked me on Thanksgiving Day, what are you thankful for? I'd be like, great question. What am I thankful for? But now I've come to realize, like, for example, me being single for 8 years now, being in one relationship, I start to think I'm grateful even for being alone because maybe I'm still figuring out who I am. Maybe there's the universe or the plan of my life still has to happen in this certain way where I need to grow by myself.
Yeah.
And eventually, if it does, if it doesn't, who knows? Someone will mesh with me. And if they don't mesh with me, I've at least gotten to the point where I'm fully realized with myself, because I've been trying to learn myself and learning myself, to the point if I am alone, hey, I'm okay with being alone.
Yeah.
I love myself and I'm content with just myself. Hope it doesn't happen that way, but if it does, we're rocking with it.
Yeah. There's a turning point in our lives where we wake up and we understand that this isn't the ideal situation, but this has allowed me to go down a path, obviously, that I didn't plan on, but that has led me to a level of fulfillment that I would never have had otherwise.
Nothing I feel like has ever been ideal for me in my life, like growing up. And I still think I am one of the most optimistic, hopeful people that I've ever met and that I know. And I think that just comes from having gratitude for everything
Yeah.
that I do have. And I think that's just the one thing you got to practice, because if not, then you're just going to be bitter and hold on to negative energy.
Yeah. When we're talking about wanting a relationship, or you want that perfect job,
I want a family.
or a family.
I want a family.
or
That is my main goal. Whether it's me and one kid, perfect. That's a family to me.
Yeah.
If someone wants to join me on this journey, that's the goal. But that is my goal.
Right. But if we're talking about these big goals, a family, a partner, a home, a perfect job, etc., those are things that only come around most of the time, once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime, whatever. So if we're living 80, 90 plus years and these things happen to us 4 or 5 times throughout our years, that's not a lot to hold on to. So I think another way that we have to find gratitude is by celebrating the small victories, those little things, those incremental steps that are helping us get closer and closer and closer to the bigger goals, or to just the average everyday goals. It could be as something as simple as, you know what, I woke up every day on time this week and got to work on time. That's a victory. I'm gonna be grateful for that. I got up and made my bed every day this week. Great. That's not something I would normally do. You know, these small little things that can that may not necessarily mean a lot in the bigger picture, but if we can find a way to celebrate those things in the day to day, it just adds to the positivity and
sure.
makes the immediate life, as we're trying to get to the bigger goals,
Yeah.
just worth living.
And if you do things like that, it adds momentum. Once you start feeling good and doing things like making your bed and waking up early, or exercising, or whatever it may be for you, cooking a
Right.
meal that you've never cooked before, or just going on a walk, whatever it literally is something that'll benefit you in the long run.
Yeah.
And that will make you more grateful for life.
One thing that I started practicing this year with gratitude is a sticky note on my bathroom mirror. And I've never been a big person to put those little reminders, whatever, but I put it up at the end of last year, and it was kind of my 2024 be positive, be thankful mentality going into the new year. And I found that it really helped me, especially those initial early weeks in the year. So finding those ways to place reminders in your life, if it's a sticky note on your bathroom mirror every morning you wake up, and it could be something as simple as practice gratitude, be thankful, name one thing you're thankful for right now. It could be any of those kind of things. You can find a lot of different ways to incorporate that into your life on the day-to-day basis. But I think some of us just need that reminder, that initial reminder, because maybe we're not waking up every morning and immediately practicing gratitude, or going to bed and thinking, oh, what a great day I've had.
Yeah.
So we need that right in your face, force you to do it. And it is that forced mindset. And that's okay. Sometimes we just need the repetition of doing something in order to find ourselves going in that direction with purpose and without being forced down the path.
I feel like something that doesn't happen enough that we should all be doing including myself, obviously, is telling the people around us how much you mean to them, how much you're thankful for them. Not just on Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
but like a normal thing because no one hears it enough. I mean, for example, at the beginning of today and this episode, you expressing your gratitude toward me, I was like, oh, wow, like I haven't heard anyone express any of that ever or in a long time. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's something that you don't experience often, or at least I don't, and I'm sure the normal person doesn't either. That if we make that a norm, life will just be more.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would just be more.
It helps our gratitude to be grateful to others,
Pass
but it
it
helps
on.
theirs too. Like, and it's so challenging, and I don't know why it's so challenging because I have these feelings for so many people in my life. You, of course, are at the top of the list, but there's so many other people that I'm just like, wow, this person is an amazing person. I am so grateful that our paths even crossed. My best friend David, I'm always just so grateful because he literally came into my life at a point where my life could have easily gone down a horrible path. I tell the story about how I met him and how he was effective in my life and the changes that I was able to make because he was there. But I don't even know if he really understands because I do tell him I'm grateful. But I don't think that we practice that enough. And more often than not, we find ourselves talking about people when they're not in our lives anymore, whether they've passed away or moved away or whatever. Like, we need to be doing that more often. And I don't know why it's challenging, but it is. And it's just, we're just caught up in our day to day.
It's just challenging because we're getting more and more disconnected. But it's also like not the norm to just compliment and reassure people. Like
Right.
we're all developed at this point to be like low key socially awkward, even as an extrovert. Like things that come out of your mouth, it's like, oh, introvert, you might not be saying anything, but social cues are just going down the hill for everyone.
Yeah.
Obviously because of technology. But the more we practice those things, the more we can hopefully find a happy medium and make that progression go up in regards to human interaction.
Yeah. Kind of in alignment with that is the idea of helping people who are less fortunate than us. And I think that's an amazing way to practice your gratitude, to find your gratitude, is to volunteer, to give back when you're able to. And it can be in a variety of ways. I personally like to practice that sort of gratitude of helping others on a individual basis, as opposed to donating to a bigger organization where the money goes, who knows where it goes. I personally would rather, like, I see a friend who, for example, there was a friend who posted something on Facebook. This was months and months ago, and her grandfather had just died, and she didn't have money to get a flight to go to the funeral. And so I Venmo'd her $500 to go to that. And I said, and this is for that. I don't think I even told you this. I don't think I've told anybody this at all. And this is not to boost my ego or
you do things like that
to
all the
brag.
time.
That is how I try to practice part of how I try to practice my gratitude is by helping lift other people up. And I'm sure in that moment, she was very grateful for that too. So it lifted my gratitude up, it lifted her gratitude up, and we all won as a result of that. So I think if we can find that ability to, even when we are not seeing all the amazing things that are happening in our lives, if we can reach out to somebody else, because we're all going through something, and if we can help lift them up, we only lift ourselves up in return. Like, when you lift somebody else, you're never going down as a result of it. You're going up too.
I am thankful for you and obviously the people in my life, and I'm thankful for life itself because we get to wake up every day. We have food, we have a place to live, we have a source of income from working, we have the ability to work, we have the ability to move our bodies, we have health.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be thankful for, even when it feels like there isn't a lot to be thankful for.
Yeah. You did a great job just now of summing up all of the day-to-day things that we take for granted. The ability to move our bodies. Like, there are going to be some people here who don't necessarily have that ability. The majority of us do have those abilities, and it's something we don't think about. I'm getting out of bed by my own free will today. I have the use of my legs. I can move my body freely. I may have some joint pains as I'm getting to this age, but I can still move about just fine. We don't necessarily realize what we have until we lose it oftentimes. So if we can be mindful that we have so many great things in our lives, I don't know how you can't be grateful when you frame it in that way.
Well, I'm thankful for this community.
Yes.
Most importantly,
As I've said, I'm thankful for you, not just when I'm sick, but when I'm healthy, and we get to share a lot of friendship moments and roommate moments and things that you and I don't share with anybody else. It's you and me for a lot of things. So I'm extremely grateful for that relationship that we have, and we're going into 2025. We had an election that we're not grateful for, but one thing I am grateful for is hope for a better future. And it's that hope that even in dark times, even when things are heading our way that we know aren't going to be great, that can lift us up in a way. So I am very grateful that we have the hope and we have the drive to continue to make things better. So I know we're grateful for, as you said, our community, our audience, and let us know what you guys are grateful for, how you practice gratitude. And let us know in the comments and give us a like and a subscribe. We'll be very grateful for those things.
or if you didn't like us, I'm open to the feedback.
We will be grateful for the feedback.
Of course.
Nonetheless. Absolutely. Yeah. And we'll see you next week.
Yes. Much love. Bye.